planning on stealing something?
No, ma'am, we're not.
Plan on murdering me in my sleep?
What? No.
Where do you get off?
Just a couple of people who totally got off, bro.
Hey, show us your basement.
What? No.
Hello and welcome to Show Us Your Basement. I am your host, Alberto, and I'm joined by Eric and Josh. We are, unfortunately, it's not all a full house on this episode. We are missing Edgar here for this episode, but it's fine. He'll be back for the next one. I figure we did have something planned with all four of us in mind, but we're going to save that for future episodes. We figure we'll do something a little different tonight. We're going to talk about the newest Super Mario movie that's come out over the past weekend. All three of us have seen it, Edgar included, but you'll give his thoughts on the next episode. So if you're looking forward to that, please stick around. If you enjoy this podcast, go ahead and like and subscribe. Share this with your friends, all of your Nintendo fans out there. You know, if you haven't seen the Super Mario Galaxy movie at this point, I don't know. I mean, you're at a loss. I don't know why you're listening to this episode if you haven't seen the movie. Go watch the movie because we will be spoiling it. We'll be giving our review for it. But before we get into that, Eric, I have a question for you to kind of, break the ice here for this episode. I know you're a huge NECA figure fan. You collect a lot of NECA toys. Our fans out there, I'm sure, are also in the same realm of collecting figures and stuff like that. I want you to give us a sort of like a recommendation list for people starting out. What should they be going out and collecting for NECA figures? What are some affordable options? What are some that you would be like, you know what, save up some money, go buy yourself this one? What would you recommend for someone starting out collecting NECA figures?
He's asking for a friend.
That's right.
Sure.
That's
I'll
right.
be happy to give my
Exactly.
best advice that I can. For starters, great question. I love that. For starters, if you're unaware of who NECA is, it stands for National Entertainment Collectibles Association. They specialize in a lot of different, brands, franchise. Okay, they don't just. I particularly like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles lineup, and they make several different genres of the Turtles, not just one. They specialize in making a lot of. Josh
There
gonna
you
put.
go. Yep.
There's actually a good example right there. Josh is showing some out of the box loose figures that look great. But NECA will likely have. You'll notice mine are still. This is just to put it into perspective. What you see right here in this wall is a fraction of what I have. It's a fraction. It's a fraction. Josh knows he's seen. Well, he hasn't seen it lately, but he knows it's a fraction even from the last time he saw it. But they make Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They're big with Aliens, big with Predator. Okay, those are like kind of the three. They make a lot, but those are like three that I've seen a lot of collectors go crazy for. They do a lot of the Friday the 13th. They do a lot of Friday the 13th, but they primarily specialize in the Jason figures. Same thing with
Halloween. Halloween.
They do a lot of horror. They do a lot of horror. Okay, they got Halloween. They have a Halloween series they've been doing a long time. They've got a Friday the 13th. They got Nightmare on Elm Street. They've got Scream. I got some Scream figures.
They did that shitty Halloween trilogy too.
Oh,
they did
right.
the
yes,
shitty. They do it all. They dip their toes in everything. Now, what I would say is if you're going to start, find something that you're interested in. Number one, it may not be the Turtles. It might be something else, and find out if they make the figures. As far as where to start, again, that depends on your preference. on where you want to start. They've been in the game a long time now. NECA has. So if you're looking for the very first releases of something, it's going to be difficult to find. Depending on what it is, it's likely going to be very expensive on a third-party market. Okay, these right here that you see, for example, this was the very first. This was a part of their very first lineup, the very first release of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. At first, okay, they were the first to do the Mirage comic book Turtles with red masks. They also have a black and white set that comes in a 4-pack. They're not individual encased like this. Okay. They also have a 4-pack of this as well. These were released in 2008. They're very expensive. Okay. I'm not going to, it's going to vary right now with how things are in the economic climate. It's hard. It would be hard to sell them, but if it was a healthy economy, probably 250 a piece, maybe more on these. So
Right.
the black and white ones, you're looking at close to $1,000 for that 4-pack. Okay. So, and you got to find one too. So again, it's going to vary. If they're being sold at retail level, you can find them at Target, you can find them at Best Buy, various places, mom and pops. Depending on the figure, they're going to range between, I think these Nickelodeon ones that they're now releasing, which I love too. These are new though. You can buy these in stores as they're releasing them. These are about $40 a piece. I wouldn't say it's cheap if you're trying to get them all.
Why?
They have 2-packs.
Why the NECA brand do you choose over like?
I think it's these is why.
Really?
Because when I first discovered these, I think these were close to the first NECAs I had. NECA figures that I have that I purchased from that brand back in. I think I got these back in 2012, maybe about 4 years after they were released. I paid $300 for the set of 4, but they've inflated since then. I think because of these, I just got stuck on NECA and I started to explore more, and I just got really. That's really the only action figure brand I collect is NECA. There are some other good ones. Josh and I have talked about it. Once upon a time, McFarlane Toys, I believe they were the guys that paved the way. They had the Movie Maniacs line. That is a goated toy line. I'm going to tell you right now. Look it up. I don't want to get into the details of it, but if you look up the Movie Maniacs toy line by Mark McFarlane, they set the standard. Okay, now
let me take a look here. Let's see.
They're very good. So,
while you continue talking, go ahead.
Anyway, if you're looking to get into collecting them, you got to find what you're into, see if they make it, and then just kind of go from there. Start digging into what you're into and where you can find it and what you're willing to spend, because they're not cheap. Because there's toys, The nice thing about these, there's 2 things you can do with them. I don't open mine. I keep mine packaged. Josh unboxes his. That's just preference, right? The value is always going to be a little bit higher if you keep them in, but they still hold value very nicely when you open them. Now, you do have to be careful when you open them because plastic can break. These things will break sometimes when you open them and try to articulate them. Unfortunately, they can go through that because in Colorado, the air is really dry and it can dry them out. So you got to be kind of careful. Now, they're very good about warranties. They will replace it if you take the right steps. You can go to their website. So you're not screwed if one breaks. You can get that replaced. But they are great with articulation, great design. You can pose them in many different ways and make it look real. Like Josh has that cool. He just showed us. Like it's really cool. I give him a hard time about opening them, and he always likes to tease me. But the reality is, like, they are so fun to pose like that. They look great in that shot he just showed. Yeah. So we do a lot of things with them.
Josh, do you weigh in on this? I mean, I know you probably don't collect them as much as Eric does, or do you? Are you an avid collector of the NECA figures?
I have more. That is really the only NECA figures that I carry. I'm more actually into Transformers. I have a pretty strong line of Transformers action figures.
Josh does have a strong lineup, very strong.
I will say that what I like, and I think Eric can agree to, is NECA is very it's very detailed and it's very mature of
Yeah.
an action figure. McFarlane is good in that aspect as well. And then
Not like they used to be.
yeah, they definitely
They're still very good.
degraded. Yeah, I don't want to say degraded, but like I don't know. Yeah, it's yeah. There's just something about I think when it comes to like the Ninja Turtles, I will say NECA like owns that toy line.
Own it, dude.
Yeah, you know, like they killed every NECA um, a toy line in my opinion. Not just actually from like 80s cartoons, but the movies, the
Yes.
comic books.
Comic book.
Yeah,
They do every version of them.
yeah,
And what's unique, to Josh's point, what's unique is they are the only company that really started making the toy lines based on adaptations you'd never seen toys for before. And one thing that Josh and I talked about was the original Playmates line, which that's a golden goated line, the original one that you bought, that they released with the show by Playmates. Those old ones are great. Okay. However, NECA, when they did the 87 toy line, the difference was there was a lot of differences. Detail, to Josh's point, paint deco, just the little details in the action figures. They actually made the figures exactly how they were in the show. Because if you go back to the old Playmates line, they're not, they use the characters from the show and they're pretty close, but they're not the same. We've talked about it, we've looked at it, like they're not exactly as they were pulled out of the show. Not at all. So um, NECA mastered, like, no, here are the figures from the cartoon, bang, in your face. Here are the ones from the pages of the comic books, from the 1990 Jim Henson movies, right? So they literally are very detailed oriented. So it's a big thing. If someone's looking to start collecting, they got to kind of do a little bit of research to figure out what they want.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could chime in with the whole NECA figure talk because I don't really collect too much NECA figures. Um, Eric and Josh will attest to this, but I have more Funko Pops than anything else, and that's just because of the affordability of it. I think now they're a little more expensive. I mean, you're paying almost $20 for a Funko Pop now. Not to mention, I
It's a
mean,
lot
Eric,
for Funko, dude.
yeah, and I think you can speak on this a little more because you know more about it than I do. But like Funko's like just the brand itself is like drowning. Like they're just not
Yeah.
selling as much, which is unfortunate. But the level
Well,
of
it's
detail,
oversaturated. I think they went too
that too.
far.
That is true. They got a lot of. They've got so much that
They
it's
just make something for everything.
it's
Like,
oversaturated. It's oversaturated for sure.
there isn't an exclusive. There isn't like an exclusiveness to it. It's just like, oh, here it is, and it's like a little thing. In the early stages of it, I think there's some really good ones.
Yeah, I agree. Now it just feels like they're just collecting dust. I have a bunch of them, so I probably wouldn't say to go out and buy Funko Pops. That's why I was like, let's talk about the NECA figures because I think there's a lot of people who maybe want to pivot away from Funko Pops. And knowing Eric, he's a huge collector of the NECA figures and stuff like that. There might be someone out there who's wanting to collect it. Maybe that is me. I currently am trying to get into a hobby of collecting. I'm collecting vinyls more than anything else, and that's pretty expensive. Oh man,
There's a
looks,
reflection, but you
that
can
looks
kind of
pristine.
see what I
That looks
mean.
Really cool.
Yeah, they're just really well made.
Damn.
And if you had read the original Mirage line, like the first 7 issues, like the first 7 that came out, this is how they looked in the comic. So
Now, would you ever sell any of these for anything?
no,
All right.
no,
That makes sense.
open it,
no way,
open it.
I mean, these are not the ones I would open.
Close it. It feels so good.
God,
No,
it does
these
look really
are
cool.
these are staying as
Like
is.
This is what makes action figures legit.
Oh, see, look
Yeah,
at that.
I
That
know
looks
it's fun.
cool.
It's
That
so
looks
fun.
really cool. That's the whole point of the. That's half the fun.
Yeah.
Right there. All right. How much do you think you invested in all those figures, Josh? What if you don't mind sharing a number?
I'm not gonna tell you.
All
I'm
right, that's fair.
embarrassed.
That's fair. You know what? That's totally fair. I think with my Funko Pops, nah, I don't think I want to even think about how much I've spent on Funko Pops. But let's talk about something that I don't know. I'm curious to see whether it was a waste of time, a waste of money, or not. The Super Mario Galaxy movie. For a little bit of context, this movie came out over the weekend. I had a chance to watch it on Friday night at the Alamo. It was packed. I don't know. My thoughts on the Alamo right now is they're not really doing so well in the public eye.
Oof.
I don't know if you guys have heard that they've moved everything over to like mobile ordering on your phone, and it's a big hubbub about that. So they're getting rid of like actual servers, and it's like so. I just want to put that out there. There's probably some people who don't fuck with Alamo right now, and I totally respect that. That's why I went to go see Super Mario Galaxy. This movie was like, gosh, I don't know what the Rotten Tomato score is, but it's mixed.
43%. I got it right here.
Okay, not mixed at all. It's on the low
What's the
side.
user? No, what's the user?
89.
Okay, all right. Never mind. There is a split. A lot of critics ripped into this movie. It's made by Illumination. If anyone knows about Illumination, those guys are responsible for making like the Despicable Me movies, the Minion movies. You know what you're getting yourself into when you're watching those films. They have made the first Super Mario movie that came out in 2023, I believe, or 2022, one of those. And now they're out with the sequel, Super Mario Galaxy. Guys, what do we think of this one? Let's just initial. If you could just give me a sentence first before we dive deep.
No, is
Your
it
thoughts?
greatness or is it basement? Gentlemen.
You really gotta make me choose between the two. Like we can't have an in between when it comes to the movie.
Is it greatness or basement, Berto?
I gotta say, I enjoyed a lot. I enjoyed this movie more than I hated it. So I guess it is greatness, but it's not like a perfect movie. Obviously, it's far from perfect.
But you liked it.
I enjoyed it though. I did have a good time. So I'm gonna say greatness. Well, what about Eric? What about you?
I kind of want to hear what Josh has to say.
Okay, well,
Curious about Josh's
I
opinion.
won't dive too much into what my thoughts were with the movie yet, but I'll just flat out say that it was greatness.
okay, okay.
Okay.
So that's 2 for greatness.
Okay.
Eric.
I was pretty disappointed in this movie.
Okay.
I've told you guys before. I've told you guys both of this, all of you before. When the first Super Mario movie came out, I felt like, hey, we've got maybe the greatest game adaptation trilogy on the way. Okay. This movie, my hopes sunk a little bit with this one. And I think it was because I felt like in the first 30 minutes, 40 minutes, there was like no dialogue. It
No
felt
dialogue.
empty, kind of like just kind of like flat. Maybe it was flat. I thought it had maybe a little bit of I felt like it had an identity crisis with who's the protagonist, who's the main character of this movie. Is it Mario, or is it Peach? Is it Rosalina? Who's the hero here? And it felt very uneven from that regard.
See, I kind of get what you mean, though. I understand that completely.
It just felt like and I don't want to look. I don't want to make it sound like this is like the worst movie I've ever seen, because it's not that. But this movie, it just felt flat with the story. Um, they had Bowser in it. They kind of had like this. He's like this main villain of this universe. He always has been. And they kind of did this little like, well, he's kind of a villain in this movie. And I felt like they kind of had more of a friendship with him. And then he did kind of revert back with his son. But
Right.
it felt so like, it didn't feel like he was making a villainous comeback. It kind of just felt weak. Like he's like, don't worry, Mario. Like, I got your back. And he kind of felt like he did. And like he was kind of thinking twice about being a villain. And then he was, but it just didn't feel like it had that punch. Like, oh, he really turned heel on him. It was kind of just like by default.
Oh, using a wrestling term. That's yep.
Yeah,
I
it just
see
kind of
where
felt like
you're
a
at. All right.
default. And I really liked that they used a cameo for Fox McCloud. I loved that, kind of like they did with Donkey Kong in the first movie. Except they really utilized Donkey Kong and his universe very well. It was well balanced in the first one, getting the help from the Kongs, right? They didn't overshadow Mario in the first movie. They balanced it well. Where this one, like Fox McCloud came in and he was kind of like, it was like, oh, cool, it's Star Fox.
And that was it.
We got a little Star Fox action. And it just was like, like nothing. They had Glenn Powell voicing him, who's an ascending star right now, but he was kind of redundant. He didn't really like serve a great purpose. He was just kind of there. And so I thought the dialogue lacked. It was a little bit slow with the dialogue. The climax was a little bit, they left a lot on the table. The climax wasn't great. It didn't, we're talking about Super Mario Galaxy. It didn't really feel like a Super Mario Galaxy to me. Like, yeah, they kind of crossed over to some other places. I think the most recognizable, they started it right off the bat with going to that planet that you saw in Mario Odyssey. And I thought they did a really great job with how that looked. That was kind of the highlight of the worlds, of the galaxy worlds to me. And Yoshi felt like he had a bigger role than he should have had. And he was just kind of a goofy character. I don't know. It's just like Yoshi's always been kind of like the bonus character when you're playing the game. And in this movie, they kind of tried to make him a character, but he didn't have dialogue that was worth a shit. So he kind of was like in the way, it felt like. But
I guess this is where I start to kind of like question, are we overanalyzing this movie a little too much? This is, after all, a Super Mario movie. And I feel like if we're going to hold the movies to that kind of standard, and I mean, I understand it is a different medium, but then that makes me wonder, like, the video games have zero to no plot, and those games are fantastic.
Right.
They're so
That's
much
a
fun.
great point. It's a great point. That's a great point. But when you compare it to the first film,
Yeah, I mean,
they executed it with a great story. And to your point, yes, you're right. There's not much that they really have to live up to when it comes to a story. You're right about that. And I thought about that myself too. I was like, okay, well, it's not like there was really a story to begin with. You're just going on these adventures into these different worlds, and it's a very simple game to play. It's not hard. You can tune it, you can check out and play it and have a good time. But you did such a great job executing and delivering a story in the first one, and this one just went flat, like as a follow up. And so it's like, come on,
that also gets me thinking, like, because a lot of people compare it to the first one and they say like the first one was actually really good. They feel flat with this one. Like, was the first one that good though?
Yeah, I think so.
In terms of its story, I feel like it's on par with the second one. I don't really remember too much about the story in the first one.
They were trying to defeat Bowser, and then they bring Bowser back, which you kind of think, okay, well, it's always Bowser, right?
Yeah.
They brought Bowser Jr. in, but he wasn't an intimidating villain for that universe. He wasn't like intimidating.
Josh, I need you to jump in. What do you think?
Take over the galaxy. We're just gonna do it. We're just gonna do it.
That's a spot on impression right there.
And it's like he's just like, okay, yeah, we're gonna do it. Like in the first one, you're like they're trying to stop him from like forcing this wedding, and it was an actual like we got to save Princess Peach.
Mm-hmm.
And in this one, it was like, oh, it's Rosalina, they're sisters, and somehow they are celestial beings, kind of that are like energy in the
don't
universe.
think about it too hard, Eric. I feel like that's where you
Well,
start
it's
to.
there though. I'm not thinking about it too hard. They put this in there.
That's true. Josh, what did you think? Because you also agree that it's greatness. I mean,
Eric,
to
who gives a
what level?
fuck?
But
You
Let's be
asked.
honest.
You said
It's
you guys are
a
talking about, hey, is it
cartoon.
decent
It's
or
a
is it greatness?
cartoon. If
What?
you are an adult and you go in and you watch an animated movie with high expectations, then you're setting yourself up for failure to begin
I
with.
don't think I had high expectations. I just expected it to go a little bit more smooth. Like,
So let me kind of educate you on a couple of things. So Mario Brothers 1, 59% Rotten Tomato score.
but what was the user?
I don't care. I want to talk about
That's not what matters.
No. It got 95%. It got a 95%.
Wow. Okay.
There you go.
Score. Okay. The thing is, as much as we, the three of us, the four of us, when Edgar's on here, shit on Rotten Tomatoes, it has some credibility to it, unfortunately. Okay. Toy Story is one of the greatest animated movies of all time.
Yes, no one's arguing that.
Yeah, I give it a 90% tomato, 100% Rotten
Give it
Tomato.
100%. That's a perfect movie.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying, right? The story in the first Mario movie is really all over the place. It really is. They're in Brooklyn. All of a sudden, they're in Princess Peach's land or whatever it's called.
Mushroom Kingdom.
Mushroom Kingdom. They meet the princess out of nowhere, and they're just like, let's just go on this adventure because you're human too. Like there's some nostalgia in the first one that I appreciated. The story, which makes the story stand out a little bit more. Okay, I don't think they did anything different story-wise in the second one. They just overshadowed it more with nostalgia, unfortunately.
Oh, they threw that at your face like every
corner,
every 5 minutes.
Yeah, every 5 minutes, and like there were parts of it in the first one that I really appreciated. It was a heavy load in the second one, and unfortunately, I'm going to tell you, the nostalgia was so fucking good in the second one. I don't care how bad the story was. I had so much fun watching this movie.
I gotta be honest, me too.
Yeah, and I'm gonna. Okay, Bowser being a good guy. There's a game on Super Nintendo called Mario RPG, guys.
Oh,
okay.
I was thinking the exact same thing when I was watching the movie. It kind of gave me those vibes.
And guess who becomes a good guy in that game?
It's Bowser.
Bowser. That's why they did some of that stuff. Okay. So there is some lore to the story.
There is some lore, but I will give Eric this in terms of it just didn't feel earned. It felt very like out of left field, if that makes sense. Some of the decisions they make.
I don't disagree with that.
I
don't disagree with that. But did the movie do its job? Did it entertain you?
I mean, it did.
Did you have fun watching it?
It did. I enjoyed it. But
you know what? I'm gonna be frank with you, Alberto, and this is a hot take right here.
Okay.
I like this movie more than I like Toy Story 2.
Okay. All right.
I didn't like Toy Story 2.
What's your problem with Toy Story 2?
Just didn't care for it. It's a perfect movie.
Oh man.
But I had more fun and I enjoyed this movie more.
I mean, I'm gonna have to disagree with that one. I think Toy Story 2 is a much more cohesive.
I would rather watch this movie 3 days in a row and skip out on Toy Story 2.
Well, can you at least, I mean, Puss in Boots: The Last Witch, that's better than this movie, right? I mean, we can agree with that. We can agree on that.
No, I didn't care for that movie.
Oh, for fuck's sake! Really?
Anybody who puts that in their top 10 list of greatest movies of all time is out of their mind, and they don't even know good cinema. But anyways, let's move on, guys.
Okay,
Look,
well-
I think you're enjoying this movie just a little too much, Josh. I mean, we do have to reel
It
it
did
back
its
a little
job.
bit.
It's an animated movie that actually took nostalgia from one of the greatest
Yeah.
characters of all time.
I mean, I'm not
That's
disagreeing
all
with
I
you.
can ask for.
I mean, that is
All I
true.
can ask.
That is true.
All I can ask.
I did enjoy it when I turned my brain off and I didn't think too much about it. I enjoyed it. I just feel like don't go into this movie expecting fucking K-pop Demon Hunters or like like a Across the Spider-Verse kind of film. But when we talk about a movie that's like a kids movie, a lot of people were was watching a lot of TikToks and people in the comments of reviews for the movie being like, "Oh, what do you guys expect? It's just a kids movie. Like, get over it." It's like, but I think there's a certain standard that has to be held for kids movies because there already are so many great kids movies that can capture the attention of children and also tell a good story with it. And that's why I can kind of agree with Eric here, where it's like this movie is just sort of like the equivalent of like cinematic brain rot a little bit.
So why did it get an 89%?
Well, that's
If we
just
don't care about-
those are the fans right there.
If we don't care about the tomato score,
I
it's
just-
all about the
Josh, I
audience
just
score.
mentioned like what's the user, and you're like, no, well, who cares about the
I'm just
user?
well.
And now
I
you're
was
like,
at
not
that
the
point.
user score.
At that
That's
point,
right. Yeah, that is true.
At
That is
that
true.
point, at that point, I wanted to talk about the tomato meter.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, right? Because I wanted to recognize that it had flaws. Okay. Now I want to talk about the popcorn meter. Right. So if this movie is so bad, why did people enjoy it? Why is it getting its flowers? Why is it making money? Why is it an 89%?
You said
Close
it.
to a
You said it.
40%.
You said it at the beginning. It's all nostalgia. It's all blinded by nostalgia, which is not a bad thing. I agree. That is kind of what made me also enjoy the film. But I kind of hate that. That's why I enjoyed it was because of all the nostalgia too. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm kind of like,
No.
I'm greatness, but I can see why it's kind of basement also. You know?
Thank you, Josh. Toot your flute. Way to
Josh,
go.
I mean, I don't think you've really criticized this movie at all, Josh. I feel like you just acknowledge the bad parts of it without really criticizing it. I'm just saying.
Oh, listen. Hold on.
It has its flaws.
Oh.
It's not a perfect movie.
It's not. It's far
Look.
from it.
I made it very
Both of them
clear
are.
that because since we're talking about this and we have to follow the strict guidelines of rating the movie, I wouldn't be putting it in the basement at all if we were using the older platform. Okay.
Ooh.
But for the purpose of this podcast, unfortunately, I'm going to have to put it in the basement, which pains me because it's not that I thought it was terrible. I really did think that the first one, it's like with the first season, you kind of got to make some tough decisions to try to make this go. Okay. And the first one, I actually liked that they had a backstory about where they came from, how they ended up in this strange universe. And, you know, they are plumbers. I always hear people ask, like, why are they plumbers? It's like, well, actually, if you go to the very origins of like the game where they were just Super Mario Brothers, it was the whole thing. Remember that the bugs were hopping out of the pipes?
Yeah, yeah.
On the old like artwork, it would say, defeat the pests or whatever. So it's like they're hopping out of the pipes and you're trying to get the pests, and that's the plumber idea, I think. And I really enjoyed that the first movie highlighted why they were plumbers and their life before going into some alternate universe, and I like that they built that. They had to kind of go out of they had to jump out of their normal comfort zone to deliver that piece of the story. And with this one, it did feel like they jumped into they jumped into the nostalgia. Yes, you've got to have the nostalgia. I get that. But I thought that the original storyline, they did a good job of like explaining where they came from, where a lot of people wonder why they're plumbers. So they had to make a sacrifice and go outside of the normal Mario storyline or what they are, create the story, show why they had to go get sucked. It made sense. Like they actually built something that made sense, where this one, it felt like they didn't have an idea and that they did lean into the nostalgia. And like I said, the Fox McCloud thing I loved it, but he was just kind of like a redundant character. There was just parts of the movie I just thought were unnecessary, like the dinosaur part, like where they were the baby Marios. Like they kind of felt like they just forced that in there. Like,
So I do have one huge beef in this movie. Childish Gambino did not need to be in this movie.
Donald Glover?
Yeah.
Did Chris Pratt have to be Super Mario?
wait,
Childish did his job.
Childish who?
Childish Gambino. He's talking about Donald Glover, the voice actor of Yoshi.
They could have hired anybody to be Yoshi.
They could have hired it. They could honestly have hired someone better than Chris Pratt for Mario.
I don't think he was terrible. I don't think he was bad at all.
He doesn't give off the vibes of Mario, and here we are with the second movie, so we can't really undo that.
Yeah.
But to have that complaint about Yoshi is like,
I don't think Chris Pratt's that bad. I don't even think the Yoshi part, like Yoshi doesn't really have a voice, so whatever.
Yeah.
I just felt like they forced him in there too much. That's all.
It's just, why do you have a big name playing such a small character that just says...
They have big names in this entire movie.
Yeah, that's just what's so crazy. And
Glenn Powell is Fox McCloud, and he barely did anything.
that's kind of true. That is actually kind of true.
I mean, Brie Larson is Rosalina. She didn't do much.
Look, I have to agree with Eric. I think I enjoyed the movie more than Eric did, but I also kind of agree with what Eric is saying, because there's another video game.
I don't disagree.
There's another video game franchise that is like already, I think, one of the goated video game video game adaptation movies, and that's Sonic. Like the third one.
Yes.
The third one did such a fantastic job at giving you the fan service, and on the second one as well. Like they didn't force the entire universe of Sonic in one movie. They parceled it
right
as they went along. And to your point, Eric, I feel like Galaxy was like, here's Odyssey, and then here's this movie, and here's this game, and here's that game. You remember this game? You remember this part of this game? It was like,
yeah, it was like little snippets, and you're like, what?
It makes me feel like there's not going to be another Mario movie. It feels like the next one is obviously probably going to be like a Super Smash Bros. Movie at this point.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do. That's what I mean. They didn't build the Bowser thing. I understand, like, do you want to continue to jam Bowser down people's throats? No, maybe not. But, like, you kind of made him, like, Jack Black was phenomenal in that first one. And he had good moments in this one. But you had him there, and you didn't really take advantage of him in his voice acting, And I think when he was like, when they had him captured as like mini Bowser, they were doing it. They were getting it done. And then they kind of just squandered it. But look, like I said, all in all, in realness, I did enjoy it, but I just felt like, man, like the way they built that first one, I just felt like they could have gone, they shouldn't have emphasized the galaxy and tried to force all these worlds, like Super Mario Odyssey, they only used one place out of that game, and I'm not even sure they should have went to Super Mario Odyssey just yet. I almost felt like they kind of rushed that. That should have been maybe more for the third. The Odyssey should have been like the third movie. But again, look, the voice acting is fine. I have no problem with the cast. I think they have a great cast. It just felt like I didn't know who this main character was at times. I mean, I did, but I didn't, So,
Yeah, it's a case of sequelitis. I think they try to do too much, and it kind of shot themselves in the foot. I'm not saying I didn't enjoy this film. I absolutely enjoyed this film. It was still a great time, but it did make me think about, like, what do they have? I feel like they blew their load too early. Now, what are they going to do for the third one? You know,
I still think they can rectify it with a third one. I do.
Mm.
I believe this. I think they can, but they are going to have to be a little more intentional about keeping like a not. You could still throw nostalgia in there. I know they want to do that, but they got to dial back in on the Mario part. Let's bring Mario back in as the guy, because he was really the centerpiece in the first one. It was about Mario, where this one was like, I didn't really think Luigi served a great purpose in this either at times. Like he kind of is just the sidekick that's kind of hanging around, where in the first one he was kind of getting himself in trouble and Mario had to kind of like figure that out, and they established that by the way they were in the real world that they were from, where he was like he appears to be the older brother. They established that relationship, and in this one it was like he just kind of was along for the ride, just kind of there to be Luigi. Look, it's the green Mario, and he's a little taller. There he is, Luigi, like, damn, dude. But in the end, it's a kids movie too. I get it. Like for kids, probably loved it, and I don't blame them, and I wouldn't argue with a child about it.
I think you just have to go in and just take it for what it is.
Yeah,
If you think
no,
on it,
I
you're not
got
gonna
that.
like it.
I get
But
it.
it served its purpose. It served its purpose,
Yes, it
and
did. It
that's
did.
why I give it greatness.
This wasn't,
Um,
dude. This wasn't some flaming pile of shit. I don't want to go there. Okay, I didn't think that. Like, this wasn't one of these things where I'm like, oh my god, like I wasted my time. I didn't feel that way. I just thought I was hoping like they would execute like a fun, heroic story, and it just didn't feel that way to me.
you're gonna have to give it greatness.
No, it's gonna be basement for me.
all right. So I mean, look, we've given our ratings. Eric, you're in basement. Unfortunately, I feel like, right? You don't actually.
Yeah, for sure. Like,
I still think it's great. I think I enjoyed it. Um, but that does make me want to pivot a little bit away from the movies and talk about, since we're on the topic of Mario, I think we've all played a lot of Super Mario games. But what are some of our favorite Super Mario video games that made us maybe want to go back and play these games after watching the movie? I don't know. But, I mean, Josh, I'll start with you. I mean, since you did bring this up as a topic for tonight, what is your favorite?
I gotta give respect to the original Mario Brother game for the Nintendo.
Mm.
But I got a few. I think Yoshi's World for the Super Nintendo was just on another level. Mario RPG as well. Yeah, just those ones, I would say.
Really?
You know,
Do you not mess with? Oh, did you say Odyssey already?
I haven't
Okay.
said Odyssey.
Do you not like Super
So
Mario Odyssey? Is that not one of your?
I GameCube, right?
No, that's like the one for the Switch.
The Switch. I've never played that one.
Wow, really?
Never played that one.
Okay,
Yeah.
you might have to revise that list if you. I think Super Mario
Okay.
Odyssey is like my personal favorite of all the
Mm.
games. I haven't played too many of them. I played Sunshine. I really enjoyed Sunshine. I mean, come on, Super Mario 64 is like a rite of passage for people who play video games. If you've never played Super Mario 64, then I don't know. You're not really. I don't want to gatekeep, but you're not really.
64
You're
had
a
a
gamer.
lot of great Mario games too. So
Uh,
Paper Mario.
Mario Kart, I think, is also just a classic. Mario Kart 64.
Yes.
Eric, which ones are you putting in your tier list of your favorite Super Mario games?
Yeah, there's a few that stand out very quickly to me. I really like Super Mario World for the Super Nintendo. That was like the first of very immersive, like large
That's with
world.
Yoshi, right?
Yes,
The cape. Yep. Yep.
Super
I agree
Mario
with
World
that.
with the cape. And to speak about the cape,
On my list.
they whipped out that cape at the very end of the
Yeah.
movie. Like that was the first time you could fly as Mario. And no, I take that back. It was not the first time you could fly, but that cape
Second one, but yeah.
was a very, very iconic like power up for him. I know the leaf in Mario Brothers 3. So, but Super Mario World, Mario 64 is fucking goated, dude. It was
Yeah.
the first three-dimensional Mario game. That was a great game. And what's interesting about that game too is that it was very like you could only be Mario, right?
Mhm.
Like there was no Luigi, there was no Yoshi. Like it was just Mario saving Peach against Bowser, and Bowser felt like
What
a
game is
really
this?
powerful villain
64.
in 64, right? And like they changed it up, and this time you're going through Peach's castle, jumping in the paintings, right? So, dude, Super Mario 64 is I got memories of that game, man. Super Mario 64, dude, just blew my mind when it came out. I love Super. I would go back and play that game again. Um, Super Mario World, Super Mario 64. To Albert's point, Super Mario Odyssey was a great game. Odyssey was a great game because I felt like it was the game everybody was waiting for that was going to be close to Super Mario 64, but more refined, more detailed,
Yeah.
larger.
It,
They
it,
really did a great job with Super
like
Mario
like
Odyssey.
like Odyssey isn't. It's not on the same level as 64. I think 64 is always going to be just like
Yes, agreed.
like just revolutionary, but Odyssey, like, just a top tier platformer, man. Like that game is just
Oh
so
yeah,
good, so damn good.
it's so good. Odyssey's good, but I'm with you in the 64. Like 64 is there; it's the one. But Odyssey was the first one that came out that was like very much it was a they took that idea and made it great.
Yeah,
I really liked Super Mario Brothers 3 because it was very challenging because you couldn't save. It had this long campaign that you kind of had to do it in like well, no, you could save, but it was very hard. Like you didn't save the power ups. I don't think I can't remember that. It was not an easy game. It was very hard to beat. I beat it one time. Great game. So those are like the four that I think about. And obviously, like you look Super Mario Kart, what a phenomenal game. But that was a different type of Mario game for sure. It wasn't like a traditional Mario game, like an adventure game.
yeah,
That was a great multiplayer experience. That was very fresh at the time. So I really go back to some of those older Mario games. There's been a lot of them. I can play most Mario games and enjoy them. That's the thing about Mario is you can play almost so many of the titles and just honestly enjoy them. Most of them, just enjoy them.
yeah.
But those are the ones that come to my mind. Just phenomenal. Mario World, Super Mario World, Mario 64, Odyssey, Super Mario Brothers 3.
I mean, look, I guess we should do what we normally end up doing with episodes like this. We got to do a Mount Rushmore of Mario games. I'm voting for 64. That's an easy one to just put up there.
Yeah.
That would be my pick. Josh, what would you put on there?
I think to Eric's point, you have to put Super Mario World on there.
That is a that's a good choice.
It's a
Okay,
great choice.
Eric,
Um,
what are you putting on there?
I would have probably, if you would have asked me first, I probably would have said Mario 64 also.
I mean, that's
Man.
yeah.
But you picked it, so that's fine. And then Josh picked Super Mario World. I'm not going to argue that one. I'm going to go Odyssey, dude. I'm going to go Odyssey. I'm surprised Josh you haven't played that.
I am
It's a
also
very
very
long
surprised.
game. It's a very long game, but it is, man, it is done so well. It's great game.
I'm surprised there's not a
So
sequel to that one. That one I feel like is begging for a sequel. So I mean, Odyssey's
well,
just
it's
so damn
hard. I don't
good.
know how you sequel something like that. It kind of felt like they covered everything.
I mean, if
that they could.
if any game franchise can do it, it's Mario because they have Galaxy and then they did Galaxy 2, which a lot of people think is like better than the first Galaxy. But I don't know if you guys have played the Super Mario
I've
Galaxy
not played
games.
the Galaxy games. That's what's crazy. So
Have you played the Galaxy games, Josh?
Have not.
Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, I've only ever played the first one. I haven't finished it, but that game is for a lot of people is considered one of the greatest as well. But we have to agree with because we got three.
Yep.
We're gonna have one more that we can all agree on. What else are we putting up there? Are we putting RPG?
God, RPG is so good.
RPG is really good, dude. That is really good. Eric, have you
To
played
change
RPGs?
it,
Do you
what's
want
that,
to?
Josh?
to change the game style like that was so
Oh,
daring
yeah, it is. Yeah,
and execute it so well. Um, I would.
I've never played RPG, so I have no idea.
I've played RPG on the Switch, and that was like my introduction to it. I enjoyed it a lot. I wouldn't mind putting it up there, dude. I might have to put that up there. RPG is really good, and I know that we've missed out on a lot of other titles. There's like the latest one, Super Mario Wonder, that came out like a few years back. That was really good. So I mean, fans that are listening to this, if you're mad at our Mount Rushmore, at least we got 64 on there, man. Like 64 is probably the greatest Super Mario game of all time. I mean, we just throwing it out there. Probably the best 64
Oh, it's
title of all time.
yeah, it's such a good game.
Um,
Golly.
it's perfection. But yeah, that's our Mount Rushmore. We got Mario 64, Super Mario World, Super Mario Odyssey, and Mario RPG. Not a bad Mount Rushmore, if I do say so myself. That is not bad. What are we thinking for the future of these movies? Eric, you talked about how they could rectify the second one. Where do you see this franchise going moving forward? Do you see a Super Smash Bros. Movie? Do you see like a Super Mario Kart movie or something? Like, where is this going?
I think they could blend a little bit of that in there. They just need to be careful how they do that, kind of blending them together.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do it. I don't have the creativity to think about it, but I do think they need to solidify themselves with a villain. Like, and I'm not saying don't use Bowser again, but if you're going to use him again, let's use him. But you know what we haven't seen in these two movies? We haven't seen the Boo character. Like a
Oh,
very iconic villain, the ghost characters. Like we haven't seen that yet. So I think you could tap into that somehow, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what you do, but I think it can be done. They need to think about it. And, I know they went with the dry Bowser thing at the end, or dry bones or whatever, dry Bowser when he was bones. And that's a thing. And they did that. And that's cool. But I don't know. I don't know where you go. You need to establish a villain of some kind. I don't know where you go because Bowser's always kind of been the main guy. I know you still have like the other Koopa kids. I don't know how you utilize them. There's a lot of them, so that could get messy. I still like that they cross over characters and bring them in, like they did with Donkey Kong and Fox McCloud. Maybe try something else there. Maybe pull in somebody from another Nintendo game as maybe a villain. I don't know who that would be.
okay.
The only other characters I think they could cross it over with would be going back to like the Donkey Kong universe a little bit, but I don't. In the event they need to make a Donkey Kong movie, you don't want to spoil that. I think a King K. Rool, but that would be a weird Mario villain. I don't think that would work.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, they really got to be careful with how they go about the third one. Josh, what do you think?
I think it's going to continue to print money.
Oh, sure.
Oh, that
Yeah.
that is a given.
Regardless of reviews, storyline, you know, the characters are so loved, you know, and you can't do you can't do wrong, you know. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see what Nintendo's doing. You know, give me more. I hope it's a Super Smash Brother movie.
I'm kind of hoping for that too.
You know,
Could be,
I
yeah,
think
that
it's
would
very limited.
Mhm.
You know, because you know you can't have Pokemon in there. You can't have like Metal Gear Solid in it. Final Fantasy.
no,
No,
the
they
Super
could.
Smash Brothers would be good. Have some kind of like tournament that they got to be in.
Yeah,
Or something.
yeah. You know, I think it will be fun. You know, so yeah. No, I'm excited for it. You know, and I'm excited for the other. Like they're making a Legend of Zelda movie,
Oh, it's the live
2027
action.
live action.
See,
So
there's a character they could cross over in a Mario movie. I think they might be able to carefully blend him in with Link, something like
maybe,
that.
but he's live action. He's not animated. So
Right, but I'm saying for the purposes of the Mario
sure.
trilogy, you could plug in Link. You could still do your live action and plug Link in,
Oh, you
But
can definitely do that. Yeah.
again, Smash Brothers, right? Maybe they have some adventure that they gotta team up with him to kind of help them with whatever.
The other option that I don't think you guys are considering is a crossover with Sonic. So, I mean, I don't know how they'll do that because it is also live action, but there's a way I think you can do that. I
Sonic
think
is he an NCU?
an NCU, like Nintendo
Nintendo
cinematic.
cinematic.
No, but they've done the Olympic Games for like the Wii, so there's definitely been some crossover with like Sonic and Mario.
No, I think
So-
like Nintendo did something with Sega and bought them out and their
oh,
characters.
okay,
So I think,
interesting. Okay, well, I mean, who
but
knows?
you don't see a lot of like Sega games on the Switch. They have the Sega emulator on there as well, so forth. So
I mean, look, all I'm saying is if you want to print money, you do a Super Mario Brothers Sonic crossover somehow, and I think you'll be getting billions for sure. But regardless, that is going to do it for this episode of Show Us Your Basement. We really appreciate you guys. Hopefully, if you stuck around this long and you haven't seen the movie, I'm sorry. The movie's been spoiled for you. Not necessarily, actually. I think you could still go watch it. But tell us what you guys think. Have you guys seen the movie? What are your thoughts? Comment down below if you enjoyed Super Mario Galaxy. What are your favorite Super Mario video games? Let us know. We also do another podcast, Poor Man Sports, also on YouTube, where we talk about everything sports from a poor man's perspective. So you can go and check that out as well. And that's going to do it for us. Eric, as always, go ahead and sign us off.
That's right. Super Mario Brothers. Pull it together. Go Birds. We'll see you at Super Mario Brothers 3. Smash Brothers, baby.
There you go.